This is DME and you are listening Radio Intersect.
Hello everyone, I'm Anand and welcome to DME Review. The products we will review today are the most anticipated mobile phones ever. Yes, you guessed it right. It's the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. Instead of the usual TikTok cycle where each S release is followed by a brand new design, the new iPhone models look pretty similar to their counterparts from the previous 2 years and sport nearly identical dimensions. First things first, the release of the new iPhone also launched not one, but two new colors, black and jet black. While the former has the same classy, understated matte finish as before, the latter features a glossy finish that makes it a fingerprint and scratch magnet. Talking about the design of the phone, the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus look more or less exactly like the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. They are now water resistant, which is nice, although they are not fully waterproof. The most visible change amongst the three main external differences is that two of the antenna lines that marred the otherwise beautiful design of the previous iPhone models have been removed. The ones that remain are flush with top and bottom edges, making them a lot less prominent than before. The antennas remain a dull grey color on the silver, gold, and rose gold variants. However, on the black and jet black variants, they are all button visible. Second, the camera bump has been enlarged and more artfully curved into the rear casing, which looks particularly handsome on smaller phone with a single camera. Last, and the drastic one, is that there's no headphone jack. The iPhone 6 has always been one of the more utilitarian design in the Apple history, and a smoothed out camera bump and less visible antennas don't really change that. Apple's competition is getting better at making beautiful phones, and nothing about the iPhone 7's design exceeds the rest of the industry. The iPhone 7 Plus in particular is actually falling behind its large screened competition. The 6 Plus was always a bit bigger, and new designs like the Galaxy Note 7 fit enormous displays into much smaller and tighter packages. The new solid-state home button on the iPhone 7 has changed. While it does have a few downsides, the change has produced several new positive side effects as well. The Touch ID home button introduced with the iPhone 5s quelled much of the hardware issues with the home button. But anytime there's a moving part, it's going to elevate the risk of potential failure. The new home button on the iPhone 7 has no moving part. You can customize click sensitivity. The old home button's click occurred because you were physically moving the button upon pressing it. If you didn't enjoy the way the click felt, then you just had to live with it. But with the iPhone 7, this is no longer the case. That's because when you go through initial setup on the iPhone 7, you're going to encounter a new setup screen for the home button. It's here where you can choose between 3 click sensitivity levels, and even after the setup, you can go back into the settings to alter the click sensitivity. There is more consistency when it comes to home button presses. The home button on the iPhone 7 feels more responsive than old mechanical home button as long as you ensure that you make skin contact with it. Let's consider some potential negatives. The button only responds to capacitive touch, not pressure. This means the button will not react should you be wearing standard gloves or use your fingernails, since there is no response anymore to physical movement. Talking about the display, 3D touch is still present on the iPhone 7's display, and the display itself is improved. The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus have white color gamut displays. This doesn't really make much of a difference in most day-to-day situations, since most visual information is still being captured in the RGB color space. It's not as insane as the 2K and 4K OLED panels that have been popping up on Android phones, but it's a sharp, bright and beautiful LCD. You won't notice it in most apps, but the display can show a wide range of colors now, which is really obvious when you look at the photos taken by the iPhone 7's camera, which now also captures a wide range of colors. Photos taken by the iPhone 7 look ridiculously good on the iPhone 7 display. You can tell the difference between a 7 photo and a 6S photo on the 7 screen almost instantly. That's the only place you'll really see the benefit of the new screen for now. So, there's no headphone jack on the iPhone 7. Apple says it needed to take out the headphone jack so it could make space for better cameras, taptic engine, and perhaps more importantly, a bigger battery. Apple ships a pair of its EarPods headphones with a lightning connector in the box, as well as a lightning to 3.5mm dongle so you can use your traditional headphones. You're not totally out of luck if you have a big investment in corded headphones, but you're going to want to stock up on those adapters if you regularly plug your phone into a car or have a variety of headphones you like to use. The dongle is small enough that it's not obtrusive, but also small enough so that it's destined to get lost if you move it around a lot. The Lightning EarPods are exactly like Apple's regular EarPods, which is to say that they sound average to bad and fit either fine or not great depending on your ears. Competitors like LG and HTC ship much higher quality headphones with their flagship phones, and Apple owns Beats, so it's just really hard to understand why it's still shipping such decidedly mediocre headphones with the iPhone. Especially when the company is trying to get everyone to be enthusiastic about the move away from the 3.5mm. Of course, the real move Apple's trying to make is to wireless audio with their new AirPod wireless earbuds. They are basically Bluetooth headphones that pair easier and faster with Apple's product because of a proprietary controller chip called the W1 and special software built into the iOS, macOS, and watchOS. Once you pair the AirPods with one Apple device, they can seamlessly switch to all the others, which is very cool. But AirPods sound just like the EarPods because they are basically EarPods without wires. So what you're getting for Rs 15,400 is convenience and early adopter status, not necessarily sound quality. It's disappointing that Apple didn't put more work into making wireless audio a better overall experience. Having said that, another noticeable external hardware change to the iPhone 7 is the addition of stereo speakers. One speaker is at the bottom of the phone as it has been, and the other is actually integrated into the earpiece. They are much louder than before and sound decent with better treble performance in particular. They are never going to replace the real speakers, but you can watch a bunch of YouTube videos or Snapchats and not get annoyed, and conference calls are dramatically improved. Now's the time for a short break. We will be back to discuss the performance and battery life of the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. Stay tuned.
ये वो आवाजें हैं जब कोई व्यक्ति अपनी नजर सड़क से हटाता है, अपने आप पर करे एक एहसान, वाहन चलाते वक्त दे सड़क पे ध्यान।
सड़क पर ना चलाएं लापरवाही से गाड़ी, क्योंकि किसी के लिए कीमती है जान तुम्हारी।
Welcome back to DME Review. The products we are reviewing today are the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. When it comes to raw performance, the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus are the fastest phone on the planet. Day-to-day performance is a breeze, and while we did experience minor stutters on the iPhone 7 Plus in the pre-iOS days, the iPhone 7 never suffered from any of these niggles, and despite the fact that it lacks the marquee camera features, though it packs in all the important ones and has weaker battery life compared to its bigger sibling. This is largely down to the improved battery life on the iPhone 7 compared to the iPhone 6s, as it can last an extra couple of hours on 3G and 4G networks. Though the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus should each last you a day on single charge, if you are a heavy user, the bigger iPhone still has clear benefits. Apple fixed our biggest complaint with the previous generation iPhone models by finally bumping the internal storage on the base model to 32GB. Interestingly, the iPhone 7 Plus has 3GB of RAM while the iPhone 7 makes to do with 2GB. This does not seem to make any meaningful difference to day-to-day performance of the two iPhone models. Cameras. Though the rear camera is still rated at 12 megapixel, the iPhone 7 represents another upgrade over the iPhone 6s. There's a new, faster 1.8 f-stop lens, the addition of optical image stabilization, a new 4-color true tone flash, and wider color capture. This all adds up to a decent improvement, but the iPhone 6s was already operating at the top of the scale, bested only recently by the latest camera in Galaxy S7 and Note 7. Its sensor can let in more light than the iPhones. In low light, the faster lens and optical image stabilization means that the 7 significantly outperforms the 6s. But compared to the iPhone 6s, the iPhone 7 is a step improvement, not a major leap. The attempt at a major leap is on the iPhone 7 Plus. Instead of a single lens and sensor, the 7 Plus has two. The same 1.8 f-stop 28mm wide-angle lens as the iPhone 7 and an 2.8 f-stop 56mm telephoto lens that allows for 2 times optical zoom. The camera app on the iPhone 7 Plus acknowledges this change with a new screen button towards the bottom. By default, this reads 1 time, which means you are using the regular lens. Tap on it and it changes to say 2 times, which means you are now using the 2 times telephoto lens. If you tap the button and hold it briefly, you are presented with a circular slider-like interface where you can choose the zoom level between 1 time and 10 times at 0.1 time intervals. Between 1 time and 2 times zoom, the software supposedly combines image captured by both the lenses to create a fused image, though the exact lens that is used at any zoom level depends on a variety of factors including the amount of light available. As far as image quality is concerned, the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus certainly benefit from Apple's new image sensors, and the pictures taken in daylight look natural, with best-in-class color reproduction and plenty of detail. Low light performance is also much better compared to the previous generation iPhone models, but still marginally behind that of the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. Front cameras are almost more important than rear cameras, and the iPhone 7's front camera is excellent, with the new 7 megapixel sensor replacing the 5 megapixel unit in the 6s. The lens is not quite as wide angle as Samsung's camera, but it's bright, sharp, and the retina flash is still a terrific idea that was absolutely worth lifting from Snapchat. It's a solid improvement and a welcome one. For the conclusion, I would summarize all the good and the bad stuff about the phone. Advantages: it's water resistant with improved cameras, better battery life, great display, neat taptic engine feedback, and great dual camera zoom on the 7 Plus. Disadvantages: lack of headphone jack is inconvenient, jet black model scratches easily, it looks just like an iPhone 6 in a case, wireless audio ecosystem is immature, using dongle for old headphones is also inconvenient, iPhone 7 Plus design feels big compared to the competition, and other iPhone 7 Plus dual camera features haven't shipped any yet. Consider the pros and cons and decide for yourself. That's all for today. Thanks for listening DME Review and stay tuned to DME Radio Intersect. Good day and good luck.
This is DME and you are listening Radio Intersect.